You tell your child that you are leaving the house in 5 minutes. They seem fine. Then, suddenly, your plans change. Maybe the appointment is cancelled. Maybe you need to take a different route. Maybe you decide to stop at another store first. And within seconds, your child is crying, shouting, refusing to move, or having a full meltdown. You may wonder, why is such a small change causing such a big reaction? Why can't my child just go with the flow? Or perhaps, after a difficult day, you find yourself thinking, are they trying to control the situation? But what if your child is not being difficult? What if the change feels much bigger to them than it appears to you? For many neurodivergent children, unexpected changes can create confusion, uncertainty, sensory stress, or a feeling that the world has suddenly become unpredictable. In this video, we are going to explore why changes can be so overwhelming, what may be happening beneath the behavior, and practical ways you can help your child feel safer and more prepared. And stay until the end because I will share a simple phrase you can use when plans change unexpectedly. Introduction. Hello and welcome to the Neurodivergent Parenting Hub, where we help parents better understand their neurodivergent children and discover practical ways to support them through everyday challenges. If your child struggles when routines change, you are not alone. Many parents experience difficult mornings, stressful transitions, canceled plans, or unexpected meltdowns and wonder why their child reacts so strongly. The important thing to understand is this: a meltdown is not always about the change itself. Sometimes it is about what the change represents. The change may mean, I don't know what is happening anymore. I don't know what I am expected to do. I don't know what comes next. I was prepared for one thing, and now everything feels uncertain. When we understand what may be happening underneath the behavior, we can move away from asking, how do I make my child stop reacting like this? And begin asking, what is making this change feel unsafe or overwhelming? That shift can change how we respond. 1. Routine creates predictability. Imagine that you wake up expecting to go to work. You know what time you need to leave. You know where you are going. You know what your day will probably look like. Then, without warning, someone tells you, your plans have changed. You are going somewhere unfamiliar. You do not know how long you will be there, who you will meet, or what you will be expected to do. You might feel confused or anxious. Now imagine that you are also sensitive to noise, unfamiliar environments, changes in expectations, or uncertainty. That experience could feel even more overwhelming. For many neurodivergent children, routines are not simply habits. Routine can provide predictability, structure, a sense of safety, and a clearer understanding of what happens next. When a child knows that breakfast comes before getting dressed, and getting dressed comes before leaving for school, they may not have to spend as much energy trying to understand what is happening. The routine reduces uncertainty. But when the routine changes suddenly, the child may feel as though the plan they were depending on has disappeared. That is why a change that seems small to an adult may feel very significant to a child. For example, you may think, we are only taking a different road home. But your child may think, this is not the way we normally go. Where are we going? Are we still going home? What happens next? The reaction may not be about refusing the new route. It may be about losing the predictability they expected. 2. Your child may need more time to process the change. Many adults can hear new information and adjust quickly. If someone says, dinner plans have changed, we are eating somewhere else tonight, you may immediately begin thinking about the new plan. But some neurodivergent children need more time to process information and mentally adjust. They may have already created a clear picture of what was going to happen. Perhaps they expected, first, we go to the park. Then, we eat lunch. Then, we go home. They may have mentally prepared for that sequence. When you suddenly say, we are not going to the park anymore, the child may not be able to immediately replace the old plan with the new one. They may still be processing, but we were going to the park. They may need time to understand, why has the plan changed? What will happen instead? How long will the new activity last? Will we still do the original activity later? What am I supposed to do now? If the new plan is introduced quickly and the child is expected to adjust immediately, the pressure may become overwhelming. This is why giving advance notice can be so helpful. Instead of saying, "Come on, we are leaving right now," you could say, "In 10 minutes, we are going to leave." Then, a few minutes later, "We have 5 minutes before we leave." And then, "1 more minute. After we put on our shoes, we will get into the car." The goal is not to make every transition perfect. The goal is to give your child time to move from one expectation to another. 3. The change may create too many unknowns. Sometimes, the hardest part of a change is not the change itself. It is the number of unanswered questions that come with it. Imagine that you tell your child, "We are going somewhere different today." You may think that is enough information, but your child may be wondering, "Where are we going? Who will be there? Will it be loud? How long will we stay? What will I be expected to do? Can I bring something familiar? What happens after we leave?" If your child has difficulty communicating these questions, they may not ask. Instead, you may see refusal, crying, anger, repeated questions, pacing, shutting down, or a meltdown. The behavior may be communicating uncertainty. Whenever possible, try to make the new plan more predictable. You could say, "Instead of going to the usual store, we are going to a different store today. It may look different, but I will be with you. We are only buying 3 things, and then we will come home." Notice what this does. It explains what is changing, what will happen, how long it may take, and what comes next. You are helping your child build a new mental picture. 4. Your child may already be overwhelmed. Sometimes, a change happens at a time when your child is already using a great deal of energy to cope. Perhaps they have had a noisy day at school, several difficult transitions, too much social interaction, unexpected demands, sensory discomfort, hunger, tiredness, or emotional stress. Then, one more change happens. The change may be the final challenge that pushes their nervous system beyond what it can manage at that moment. This is why a reaction can sometimes appear to come out of nowhere. But often, the child has been coping with many things that were not visible. Think of stress like a cup filling with water. One small event may not cause the cup to overflow. But if the cup is already nearly full, even one more drop can cause everything to spill over. The unexpected change may be that final drop. This does not mean the child is choosing to be difficult. It may mean they no longer have enough capacity to cope. When this happens, asking the child to explain themselves or immediately calm down may be too demanding. Instead, focus on reducing pressure. Use fewer words. Lower your voice. Give space if your child needs it. Reduce noise or stimulation where possible. And remember that your child may need support before they can communicate. 5. A meltdown is not the same as misbehavior. This distinction is important. Sometimes, adults see a child crying, shouting, dropping to the floor, or refusing to move and assume the child is being defiant. But a meltdown can happen when a child becomes so overwhelmed that they lose the ability to regulate their emotions and behavior. During a meltdown, your child may not be able to use the coping skills they normally have. They may not be able to listen carefully. They may not be able to explain what they need. They may not be able to respond to long instructions. This is why saying, "Stop this right now," "You are overreacting," "Calm down," or "You are too old for this," may increase distress. The child may already feel confused, overwhelmed, or unsafe. Adding pressure can make it harder for them to recover. Instead, you might say, "I can see this change is really difficult. You expected something different. You are safe. I am here. We do not have to solve everything right now." These words do not mean you are giving in to every demand. They mean you are recognizing your child's experience while helping them return to a calmer state. You can still hold boundaries. You can still continue with necessary plans. But support often works better than confrontation when a child is overwhelmed. 6. Prepare for changes whenever possible. Of course, life is unpredictable. You cannot prepare your child for every change. Appointments are canceled. Traffic changes plans. Stores run out of items. People become sick. Unexpected events happen. But when you know a change is coming, preparation can make a meaningful difference. Here are a few strategies you can try. Give advance notice. Tell your child about the change as early as reasonably possible. For example, tomorrow, Grandma will not be visiting. We are going to stay home instead. If the change is happening soon, use a simple countdown: 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 more minute. Explain what will happen instead. Do not only say what is being cancelled. Give your child a new plan. Instead of, "We are not going to the playground," try, "We are not going to the playground because it is raining." Instead, "We are going to have lunch at home, and then we can choose a game to play." The new plan gives the child something predictable to hold on to. Use visual supports. Some children find visual information easier to understand than spoken explanations. You could use a picture schedule, a written list, a calendar, a simple drawing, or pictures showing the new sequence. For example, home right pointing arrow, different store right pointing arrow, car right pointing arrow, home. The visual does not need to be perfect. Its purpose is to make the new plan easier to see and understand. Keep one familiar part of the routine. If everything is changing, try to keep something familiar when possible. Perhaps your child can bring a comfort item. Maybe they can wear familiar clothing. Maybe you can keep the usual bedtime routine even after a busy day. One familiar part of the day can help create a sense of stability. 7. Give your child some choice. Unexpected changes can sometimes create a feeling of losing control. You may not be able to change the situation, but you may be able to offer choices within it. For example, "We still need to leave, but would you like to wear your blue shoes or your black shoes? We have to go to a different store today. Would you like to hold the shopping list or help me find the first item? The appointment was cancelled. Would you like to play with your blocks or draw while we are at home?" The choices should be realistic and manageable. You are not asking, "Do you want to go?" when going is necessary. Instead, you are offering some control over how the child experiences the situation. Small choices can reduce stress because they remind the child, "I still have some say in what happens." 8. What to do when the change is completely unexpected. Sometimes, you have no warning. Perhaps you arrive somewhere and discover that it is closed. Maybe an event is cancelled. Maybe you need to change plans immediately. In those moments, try this simple approach. First, name the change. The plan change. "We cannot go inside today." Second, acknowledge the disappointment or difficulty. "I know you were expecting to go in. This is frustrating." Third, explain what happens next. "We are going back to the car. Then, we are going home." Fourth, offer one small choice if possible. "Would you like to listen to music or sit quietly in the car?" You do not need to create a long explanation. When a child is becoming overwhelmed, too many words may be difficult to process. Simple, calm, predictable language can be more helpful. The simple phrase to use when plans change. Here is the phrase I promised earlier: "The plan change, but you are safe, and I will help you understand what happens next." This phrase can be helpful because it does three things. It acknowledges reality. The plan change. It offers reassurance. You are safe. And it provides support. I will help you understand what happens next. You are not pretending that the change is unimportant. You are not demanding that your child immediately be okay. You are communicating, "We are facing this change together." You can adapt the phrase to your child's age and communication needs. For a younger child, you might say, "Plans change. You are safe. I am here." For an older child, you could say, "I know this was not what you expected. Let's look at what is changing and what will happen next." Important reminder: the goal is not to remove every change from your child's life. Change is part of life. The goal is to help your child develop flexibility in a way that feels supported rather than overwhelming. Flexibility is often built gradually. It may begin with small, manageable changes. Perhaps you change the order of 2 activities while keeping everything else familiar. Perhaps you introduce a new food alongside a familiar food. Perhaps you practice a small change when your child is calm and rested. Over time, your child may become more confident with changes. But progress may not be a straight line. Some days will be easier than others. A child who handled a change successfully yesterday may struggle with a similar change today. That does not mean they have failed. It may simply mean that today they are more tired, more overwhelmed, or dealing with more demands. Support is not about expecting perfection. It is about learning what helps your child feel understood and safe. Conclusion: if your neurodivergent child melts down when plans change, remember, they may not be trying to control you. They may not be choosing to make life difficult. They may be experiencing uncertainty, overwhelm, difficulty processing the new plan, or the loss of a routine that helped them feel safe. When possible, give advance notice. Explain what is changing. Show what will happen next. Use visuals if they help. Keep familiar parts of the routine. Offer small choices. And when your child becomes overwhelmed, focus on support before expecting explanations. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can say is, "I can see this is difficult. The plan changed, but you are safe, and I am here to help." Understanding the reason behind the behavior does not solve every challenge, but it can help us respond with more patience, more clarity, and more effective support. And that can make a meaningful difference for both you and your child. If this video helped you better understand why changes can be difficult for neurodivergent children, please like the video so that more parents can find this information. And subscribe to the Neurodivergent Parenting Hub for practical, compassionate support that helps you better understand your child and navigate everyday parenting challenges. Now I would love to hear from you. What type of change is hardest for your child? Leaving the house, changing plans, switching activities, or changes to their daily routine? Share your experience in the comments. Your answer may help another parent realize that they are not alone. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.